Emily had always thought of herself as a giver. Her art classroom was once a place of bright colors and laughter, a small safe space where her students could spill their feelings onto paper and leave a little lighter. But lately, even the colors seemed to fade around her. Since the divorce, mornings felt heavier. Bills piled up on her kitchen table like silent judges, and every mirror seemed to reflect a woman who was shrinking into herself. Her routine became mechanical. Wake up, get dressed, drive to school, teach, come home. She no longer stayed late to paint or rearrange the art supplies for her students. She just didn't have the energy. The smallest inconveniences felt like proof that life was simply too hard, too unkind. It was on one of those gray mornings that she noticed a woman in the teacher's lounge, placing a tray of cookies on the table. Silver hair, gentle eyes, a posture that seemed to hold decades of patience. She introduced herself as Mrs. Lane, a retired teacher who volunteered at the school twice a week. Mrs. Lane struck up a conversation over coffee. There was nothing rushed about her, nothing forced. She asked Emily how she'd been, and somehow the words slipped out. Just small hints of the truth, nothing too revealing. Mrs. Lane listened quietly, then said something unexpected. Every morning before you step out of bed, name 3 things you're grateful for. Big or small, it doesn't matter, but you have to feel them, not just list them. Emily almost laughed. Gratitude. It felt like a luxury for people whose lives weren't falling apart. But Mrs. Lane simply smiled, as if she'd heard that response 1,000 times, and added, "The mind can't grow flowers if all it's given is weeds." That night, Emily tried the exercise. Her mind felt stubborn, clinging to complaints instead. Still, she whispered, "My students, the smell of coffee, the sunlight on my desk." They felt thin, almost hollow, but she figured it was worth trying again. Over the next week, she found herself resisting the pull of negative thoughts, if only for a moment, when she remembered Mrs. Lane's words. One morning, while unlocking her classroom, she caught herself smiling at the way the sunlight spilled across a table covered in paint jars. It was small, but it felt like the tiniest crack in a long closed window. She didn't know it yet, but that crack was where the light would begin to enter. The weeks that followed were anything but easy. Emily tried to keep up with the gratitude exercise, but some days the words came out like a chore, weighed down by fatigue. And then, as if the universe was testing her resolve, the principal announced that the school's budget had been cut. Her art program was on the list to go. The news hit her harder than she expected. It wasn't just about the supplies or the classes. It was the one place where she still felt a glimmer of herself, and now even that was slipping away. That night, she almost didn't do her gratitude practice. What was there to be thankful for when everything was falling apart? But Mrs. Lane's voice seemed to echo in her mind. The mind can't grow flowers if all it's given is weeds. She forced herself to whisper, "My students, the sound of rain, the fact that I'm still here." The next day, she noticed one of her students, Ava, sitting alone during recess. Ava's drawings had always been vibrant, but lately they had turned into dark, heavy shapes. Emily sat beside her and asked what was wrong. Ava hesitated, then said in a small voice that her parents were splitting up. Emily felt the words like a mirror to her own pain. In that moment, something shifted. She realized that if she gave up now, she wouldn't just lose the art program. She'd lose the chance to be the safe place for kids like Ava. She started small, gathering leftover supplies from teachers, sketch pads from the dollar store. Mrs. Lane suggested they organize a community art night where students could display their work and sell small pieces to raise money. Emily threw herself into it. At first, she worried no one would come, but the night of the event, the gym was filled with neighbors, parents, and students. The walls bloomed with color, every table covered in drawings and paintings. People laughed, bought art, and donated far more than she had hoped. By the end of the night, they had raised enough to keep the program alive. Standing in the empty gym afterward, Emily felt something she hadn't in years, a quiet, deep sense of wholeness. She thought of the first morning she had tried the gratitude exercise and how empty it had felt. Now, she didn't have to search for the words. She simply thought, "I'm grateful for this life." And for the first time in years, she believed it. Sometimes we think being whole means never being broken. But the truth is, our cracks are where the light finds its way in. Emily's story isn't about a perfect ending. It's about the quiet courage of showing up for life even when it feels empty. Positive thinking didn't erase her struggles. It gave her the strength to face them and keep moving. And maybe that's all any of us really need. The choice to look for light, even when we're standing in the shadows. If this story touched you, share it, leave a thought below, and subscribe for more tales of change.